So welcome guys to our first game here in our replay series for today. Gonna be Deoxy sending this one in, and he's gonna be on the bottom right. Gonna be playing that Zerg. On the other hand, here we have Bmasd on the red Terran. And wait a sec, why is off the sound? Just do a little strong. Okay. There you go, it's a lot better. There's a little strong music right there. So Bmasd setting up a supply depot already onto the first ramp. So that looks like he's gonna go for a wall in pretty early onto the second expansion. Exactly what you need to do against Zerg. Of course, the Zerg can just go for the Ling run by and desecrate your mineral lines. Overlord's just flying around. Here comes the expansion here from the drone. And I realize here from the Zerg that it's a lot easier to actually commit all those eggs and a lot easier to commit the hatchery down. However, the Zerg does have a quote-unquote less of a resource drain when you go for the expansion, because the buildings are expensive, less expensive, but at the same time you do have to sacrifice your drone for these buildings. So effectively their cost is, you add a 50 to that cost. On the other hand, nothing much happening here for both squads. We do see spawning pool coming up, but by the 18 supply mark, and the SCP gonna go for the scouting. Already sees the base here of Deoxy getting that spawning pool, and yeah, the SCP is just gonna go for a quick little peek to get the hell out of there. And I always wonder what the SCP is thinking when he's the one sent on a scouting mission kind of deal. Command center now being turned into an orbital command, and we see the first part of the wall here from the red Terran. Interestingly enough, he can't actually put a add-on here in this spot. The supply depot and the ramp are in the way, and the Overlord will be able to spot that out. Reaper gonna come out really soon, and honestly, that Reaper is just for that early game harassment. It's more of the fact that if you actually don't build the Reaper, it's gonna be a lot easier for your opponent to just play extremely greedily. That's a small investment of 50 minerals and 50 gas allows you to just do some economic damage to a pretty high potential. But now looks like the Reaper losing potential already. Half HP being chased around by these Zerglings, and this is gonna be on creep, so the Zerglings can actually chase after that Reaper. Oh, 5 HP almost gets taken down. The Reaper gonna hide in a expansion area, but the Zerglings still on the prowl. Finally, they're gonna back off, just like the rabid dogs that they are. So the Zerglings just chilling for the time being, and it's Deoxy in a slight lead in terms of the worker supply. Bmasd is trying to tech up for the time being. Look at that, putting a lot of resources onto his technology. What is he actually building? He's going for his second reactor, already going for a factory and a starport. Finally, reactor comes out, and the marine is being pumped out. But in the meantime, the expansion here from Bmasd not really living up to its potential. It's not as effective when it isn't saturated like that. And finally, we have a second refinery here in the main. So Bmasd a little low in terms of the economy, just building up the 12, bringing up the command center pretty early, honestly. Could have actually just saturated his main first, but I guess he didn't want to deal with these Lings who are now going for the run-in. Has metabolic boost out and about, and 12 more are on their way. In the meantime, Deoxy just queuing up those Lings, gonna chill out on the outside, on the threshold of Bmasd's base. And now the Zerglings will probably come for a rude awakening when they see a Hellion already barbecuing one of their kind. I mean, a very quick back off there from Deoxy. And honestly, when you don't apply this early game pressure, it just alleviates so much of your opponents. You have to really play smart. You always have to put pressure, because remember, this is a game where you do have to micromanage your armies, your skills, your resources, and you can't focus on one thing at a time. And exactly what Deoxy is doing, just putting some pressure in, just trying to get Bmasd on his toes. Maybe he'll make a mistake here or there, but looks like it's gonna be these drones making a mistake already. Just getting barbecued up by the Hellion. Luckily enough, they don't die in one hit to the Hellion. The carapace there on the drone tough enough to actually keep Flamethrower at bake. The Hellion almost gets surrounded, and here comes this round onto the Marines instead, but there's still a mismatch here for the Zerg, and looks like, albeit barely, it's gonna be Bmasd winning that clash, but the Queen's now out into the fray. He's really slow, however, not on the creep. Good transfusion there to keep the second Queen alive, but now this is the Queen out of their element. Spines being tossed out, and it looks like the Hellions are gonna fall one by one. Deoxy though losing a little bit. Oh, needs a transfusion, gets it in time. So the Queen healing each other up. Finally, looks like the third base will be protected. Bmasd will retreat instead, put back those Marines in the middle. We have a Marauder as well out and about. In terms of upgrades, pretty early combat shields rather here from the Terran, and Deoxy having the very slow march of these Queens just lounging around. We do have a number of Zerglings just chilling by the rock tower as well. If Bmasd can actually get this rock tower pretty early, he might cause a quick little cave in there onto those Zerglings, but the rock tower pretty tanky, honestly. Will take a while for him to do so. Drop play will be coming out in just a bit, as we do see Bmasd going for the Exodus here with the Hellions, the Marines, Marauders, and the Medivacs. An interesting composition, actually using up those minerals there to build up those flame cars. On the other hand, Deoxy just all the way with that many minerals. I don't even know what he's doing, not really building up too much of an army. Supply block though for Bmasd, and this will take him a while to actually reinforce this up. Now the Zerg is gonna go for a skirmish. The Medivacs trying to heal as much as they can. The Queen's in the back, just healing each other up, but it's very dangerous as the Queens just get stutter stepped in. One spawn, 2, 3 have fallen, but the Banelings come out at the exact time, and they get a huge hit there onto the Bio Ball. Deoxy though gonna back off into his second base up on the high ground. No transfusions though here for these Queens. They're gonna fall one by one. The Zerglings finally come out of their eggs. Had a good amount of rest. Some of them are just lounging around, and finally the all-army command there to surround the Marines and the Marauders. A good pickup to save 2 more, but looks like the Medivac will just back off instead. But that was a lot of damage actually there to Deoxy. Bmasd with 56 kills already. Getting rid of those Queens is actually very vital. It really ruins your inject timings. And now a Marauder in the back line. What's he gonna do with these 2 Marauders? Harass the drones, I believe, and now it's gonna be the Zerg. It's gonna come out once again. The Queen already back into the fight, and it's the Medivac taking those hits. Looks like the ship is not gonna be on a cruise, but instead it might be able to sink. No, never mind. We have a Cyclone, however, here now for Bmasd. And where is the unit tab? Here, oh, Deoxy gonna go for the swarm in surrounding the Marines and the Marauders. So Cyclone's not really the best unit. So I don't understand why Bmasd would go for this tech switch, because Deoxy's still staying on those Zerglings. The Cyclone's struggling to do any sorts of damage to those small miniature beings. Finally, all the Zerglings do die, but Bmasd honestly coming out a little behind there, and now Deoxy taking the opportunity to go for the Hydras. The spines just collating on the bodies of the Terrans, and that's gonna be another attack successfully defended there by Deoxy. Solid patience play rather here from Deoxy, just keeping up with the attacks there from Bmasd. Also just attacking appropriately, bringing out the Queens when he needs them, bringing out the Zerglings and the Hydralings at the last moment. So good investment of a Hydra. Then we have the attack range and the movement speed coming out now for these Hydras, as well as +1 for both ranged attack and armor. On the other hand, Stimpack is out and about, and the Zerglings and the Hydralings off creek. Here come the Banelings once again, and the last time he got the Banelings, they were absolutely instrumental at that last minute hatch into an explosion. So Deoxy right now gonna walk into this fight once again. The Baneling's actually out in front. What is he doing with that? Oh, the Marauders stacking it up. Deoxy could have done a little better there with those Banelings. The Zerglings now do die. The Hydralisk being engaged on, but this is gonna be a fight that Deoxy can win. The Hydralisk doing enough damage, having the upgrades to actually take on these Cyclones. The Cyclone not really the best unit there against these Hydras. Could have stayed with those Hellions instead. Maybe moved on to Hellbats. Vikings would be a pretty good unit as well. And now Deoxy at the doorstep here of Bmasd. And Deoxy would double the army supply of the Terran right now. in terms of unit skill. However, Bmasd is still up ahead, but Deoxy is more than willing to sacrifice those Zerglings for the Swarm. Now Baneling's gonna come out once again here onto the side of Deoxy. Supply block is out once again. And Deoxy gonna go for this triple base all in. Not really gonna build up any more expansions after this one. Gonna go for the third of the Terran. I didn't even see it cancel there, whatever that was. Oh, the Banelings just eviscerating those Marines. All of them turn into a pile of goo. The SCP and the Marauder gonna jump back in, but the supply depot is still down, and the Zerglings now in the base. No ramp here for the main. Very dangerous now for the Terror. The medevac's dying left and right, and this looks like it might be the end here for Bmasd. Good choke, however, in between the command center and the barracks. Planet Fire Fortress is going to come out here from Bmasd, but will it actually make it? Marines being cycled in, but this guy just coming out of basic training will be destroyed immediately by the Swarm. Nope, he's going to walk away. Never mind. Oh, he's going to get ignored. So this Marine, luckily staying alive, but when this lock runs out, he dies to the siege tank. As the absolute worst way to go, and Bmasd needs his planetary fortress up to at least have a chance to defend this. In the meantime, Deoxy going for an expansion, very smart play there, keeping his macro up, the orbital command really low, planetary fortress falls as well, and now the siege tank is getting a few free hits. But this is going to be absolutely dire right now here for Bmasd. The Hydralisks have taken control of the second base. It looks like he's gonna struggle to even get that third out. He doesn't have the minerals for it. He has to mine on one base, and he's using those minerals to actually build up some Marauders. This is really bad here for Bmasd. Bmasd honestly panicking. Look how much minerals he has floating around in those barracks. Could just actually build up some production as well. Build up some bunkers and some supply depots in the meantime. But no, Bmasd getting charged on. The Hydralisks looks like they're going to prove too much now for these two siege tanks. And that's going to be the game. Bmasd has to forfeit the Deoxy with the Hydralisks. Good tech switch there. Keeping the Zerglings up against the Cyclones. Then getting the Hydras out. Absolutely reading his opponent well. And that's the first game. Solid play there from Deoxy.